So I've seen this type of inequality before, and that's what made it easier for me to visualize this geometrically. So that's kind of how I approached it. So if let's say this is 3, this is 4, well, the distance is 1 unit. Absolute value x minus 3 is the distance between point x and 3. So our first condition is if x is to the left of 3, then that distance plus that distance from x to 4, because that's absolute value x minus 4, that needs to be less than 2. We know that this distance is 1, so that means that the most this could be is 0.5. So 1 here, the farthest it could go to the left is 2.5. Has to be actually greater than 2.5. So that's one limit. If x happens to be on this side, then we have the same logic. Distance between x and 3 and distance between x and 4, that has to add up to a quantity less than 2. That distance is already 1, which means these two segments have to add up to less than 1, and they're equal, so half and half. So the most you can get to is 4.5. And then, of course, all the points between 3 and 4 will satisfy this condition because they are, if a point x is here, x to 3 and x to 4, they will actually add up to 1. So they will satisfy. So all the points between 2.5 and 4.5 will satisfy this condition. So the equivalent inequality is x is greater than 2.5, less than 4.5. So that's how I approached it. Now, we could plug in numbers. That's another approach that students might take. And you may want to think in terms of extremes. So, for example, if I'm looking at choice A, x between 1 and 6, I'm going to pick x as 5.5, then plug it in here and see if it satisfies. So absolute value 2.5 plus 1.5, which is 4, not less than 2. So eliminated that. And you'll see B, we can use that too. I mean, you can just think of 5.49. We know we'll also eliminate that. And then C, between 2 and 5, you can use 4.99 and consider that to be 5. So that would be 5 minus 3 would be 2, and then 1. So you're already way ahead of 2. So we'll be very close for 4.99. So that way you eliminate C. And then D we already know is the answer. E is a hard one because all these values will satisfy. As I discussed earlier, that anything between 3 and 4 will satisfy. So for example, if you're doing 3.8, this will come out to absolute value of 0.8 plus absolute value of 0.2 will be actually 1. In fact, this question I've seen before, that if x is less than 3, less than 4, you will find that that's equal to 1, no matter what x is. So, of course, any value that you pick in E will satisfy. So then you have to distinguish between D and E, and that's going to be hard because the choice E is a subset of the solution, right? So it's only a part of the solution. So it's incorrect, but this is, again, I've seen in a lot of these absolute value questions where one of the answer choices is a subset of the correct answer choice, which is D. And if you just plug in, all those numbers will satisfy the original constraint. So that can be the difficult part here when it comes to just plugging in numbers. And you're going to have to think of other ways of eliminating that answer choice because plugging in alone won't work. So to summarize, the answer is D.